Russia's fuel crisis is spreading, with Ukraine putting more pressure on the system by striking oil depots. In occupied Crimea, a major explosion and fire erupted at an oil depot in Feodosia after an apparent drone strike. Local authorities attempted to dismiss the incident as a welding accident, but footage shows thick smoke rising over the city. The attack highlights how vulnerable Russian fuel infrastructure has become, especially in Crimea, where supply lines are already under strain. Each new strike adds to Moscow's mounting logistical problems and deepens the ongoing energy crisis across Russia. Even before this attack, the so-called head of the Russian-occupied Crimea, Sergei Aksyonov, announced that gasoline will now be sold in quantities of no more than 30 liters per person. Meanwhile, residents keep sharing videos that show the length of the car lines at the gas stations.
Dear colleagues, dear Crimeans, what I want to say about the fuel shortage. So the situation is under control and is being managed manually in manual mode. Today from 3 o'clock, from 1500 hours, there will be a limit. That is up to 30 liters per person. We are agreeing on this at all gas stations without exception. I ask all Crimeans in this case to be patient. We are currently in a situation where quickly changing the picture is not possible, but as already mentioned, the main logistics points for 95 have been literally set up. If there is no panic, then we will get through this stage 2 without major losses.
And after the amazing shot down of a Russian Mi-8 helicopter by Ukrainian drone, the Magyar birds released the full video of the attack. This was done by a Baltic Group team from the 1st Battalion of Unmanned Systems of the 59th Separate Assault Brigade of the USF of Ukraine. The crew has already done a lot of similar work, and shooting down a helicopter is a logical continuation of it. The soldiers describe the interception in more detail. We noticed that there is a certain pattern in the way enemy aircraft operate. For some time, we conducted surveillance, analyzed and roughly determined the point from which the aircraft operated and the approximate time. Then, at the time when enemy aircraft usually operated, I would fly out on patrol and wait for the aircraft. When there were no helicopters, I simply flew further along the logistics routes in search of enemy vehicles. And today I was lucky the entire unit was involved in the destruction of the helicopter and those on board. A 10-inch Shrike 10 FPV drone with a PG-7M warhead was used as a weapon. Russia is experiencing chronic supply problems in eastern Ukraine, according to a Russian mill blogger, due to a combination of constant drone attacks, fuel shortages, crushing bureaucracy, and obstructive military police. The Tactical Medicine Course's Telegram channel comments on the dire situation currently facing Russian vehicle logistics. Every day, I see how this absurd situation with transport and fuel undermines the combat effectiveness of units and simply destroys people. I'll explain in simple terms why this is a matter of life and death, not bureaucratic formalities. Imagine certain sections of the front where ammunition, provisions, and medicine need to be delivered as quickly as possible, and the wounded evacuated. It's a scene I've witnessed dozens of times. You, dirty, grimy, having not slept for 5 days, your hands shaking from exhaustion. Get into your battered Niva, bought sometime in the suburbs of Donetsk with your last money, and speed along the torn-up roads, risking at any second being blown up by a tripwire or caught in artillery fire. You're delivering ammunition to the guys at the front so they can repel another attack. You're carrying water and food because they've been sitting in the trenches for 2 days without provisions. Or you're assembling a column of 2 or 3 of these rusty old cars for an urgent combat mission. You need to urgently move a group to a dangerous area where an assault is about to begin. And then begins that very theater of the absurd, the kind only a bureaucrat who's never seen war up close, beyond his computer screen, could conceive. The military police stop you at the checkpoint, and instead of helping you or even letting you through, they begin a humiliating interrogation. Why are you, a defender of the fatherland, traveling in such a vehicle? Where are your documents? Whose vehicles are they? I've seen grown, serious men who've been through the hell of battle, close to tears from helplessness. Instead of completing a combat mission, you spend hours, sometimes even days, proving the obvious, wasting precious time while somewhere on the front lines, the guys are waiting for those very same bullets, waiting for evacuation, waiting for reinforcements. and every wasted hour is paid for in blood. Fuel is a separate, simply outrageous story. Fuel is perpetually in short supply because the vehicles are working at full capacity, constantly driving day and night. 2 weeks into the month, supply quotas are exhausted, and then the soldiers are forced to buy fuel out of their own pockets, even though their missions haven't gone anywhere. And the staffing table, those beautiful little papers written somewhere in Moscow or Rostov-on-Don, still states that a soldier must travel in a slow-moving Ural, Kamaz, or MTLB. Have you ever seen what a kamikaze drone does with such standard transport? This is not a vehicle. It is a mass grave on wheels. A huge, unwieldy, slow target. It's time to finally fucking realize it's 2025, not the 1990s. We're not fighting Dudiyev's militants, but an army equipped with the latest technology. Modern warfare demands mobility, flexibility, speed, and stealth. We must urgently, I'd say yesterday, revise these outdated, dusty regulations, provide vehicles with fuel at least for the duration of combat operations, and legalize and include in official databases those vehicles that actually save the day at the front, not those that look good in reports. This is technically a simple solution. Issue the same combat orders for such vehicles, assign them to units, and put them on rations. But instead we see yet another absurd ban. Just recently, soldiers were banned from driving their personal vehicles. In other words, you can't use the only thing that saves you and allows you to carry out orders. This isn't just bureaucracy, it's sabotage. If we truly want to win, and not sit in the trenches, it's time to finally start thinking with our heads and adapting to reality, not paper regulations written by people who've never heard a drone whistle overhead. While we argue about regulations, people are dying out there, and their blood is on the conscience of those who continue this paper war against their own soldiers.
No.
A 22-year-old Russian answered the question of how to make big money in Russia. Go to war. He listed extra advantages. You can kill people with impunity since you're fighting for your Russia. Yeah, dumbass, go on, sign it. A mystery gift is waiting also.
No. I'm just thinking about signing the contract. First of all, it's really great to serve under contract, and secondly, you can calmly kill people while fighting for the armed forces in Russia. Sort of. No one will do anything to you, they won't imprison you, and a big plus is that you can catch, for example, what do they call them, Nazis, in the special military operation, and you can also mock them, make them kneel, cut off hair. It's very good. It even somehow gives you strength, some kind of, I don't know, pride in yourself, and on top of that, you get paid for it.
Would you be ready to go?
Well, for that, yes, for that, getting paid for killing people, like, in a way, it's not bad, in a sense. Good should always triumph over evil. Well, kind of, yes, I would agree to go for that.
In your opinion, why do people agree to such high-risk jobs?
Well, I don't know. First of all, probably because I'm a patriot of my country. To experience, and well, some people go there who have a lot of loans, nothing to lose.
In Oleksiyevo-Drushkivka, Donetsk region, Russian forces hit the settlement with aerial bombs. When firefighters arrived to fight the blaze, an FPV attack drone struck a fire truck. Terrorists, nothing more.
Petro Polyakov there, Zorantei, Okomanito. The Russians are destroying everything they can. This time, the State Emergency Service and Oleksivska-Drushkivka came under fire. A bunch of Cubbies landed here. The State Emergency Service arrived to extinguish the fire, and the vehicle was hit by 2 RPGs on the tow. Damn, it's just crazy. So this is not the first time they constantly shell the State Emergency Service units. They don't even let them extinguish the fire, save at least something to survive. What can be said about them, about these Russians? We all know who they are and what they are.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week gets 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.